Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the monthly meeting of the Athens Motion Commission. They're appointed to implement the bike pedestrian master plan, provide recommendations to the mayor and commission. Keep us on track to build a safer Athens. So that I will do roll call. Lauren is here. Art.
Here.
Teresa will be in late. Randy.
Here.
Alan.
Here.
Ed.
Here.
Julie. Here. Blaine.
Here.
Gabriella.
Here.
And Daniel, any public comment?
No.
Great. And I did not catch your name.
Jason, with another time to introduce myself.
Yeah.
I am a new staff member with Transportation Public Works. I have been with Athens-Clarke County government for about 5 years. My first stint, I was with Transportation Public Works, but working on stormwater engineering stuff and doing a lot of infrastructure asset management activities. And then I spent the previous year or so with our economic development department doing some site development services activities and meeting with contractors and engineering firms. I'm now back. I've been in this position just for a couple of weeks, and I'm excited. It's a newly created position in the department, and I'm excited to work with Daniel and Katie on all the programs that they're working on managing. A lot of grant funds going on as well. And another part of my job will be working with other departments in the government, such as transit and planning department, thinking about how we can just have some increased collaboration on our transportation planning, how the other departments play into transportation and land use and how they all relate together. Thinking about our master plans and any technical standards we can update or ordinance revisions, coordinating those efforts. So
Great.
I'm Jason, and it's nice to meet you all. I appreciate all you all's time that you volunteer for this commission and community.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, welcome. So we're excited for you and your position. And too often think bike pedestrian infrastructure has been siloed as its own sort of separate thing because we've been forced to consider it as an afterthought. And hopefully we can consider it more holistically with all of our modes of transportation. So I'm very excited that you're here. Okay, go ahead and do we want to do minutes or agenda first? Let's go ahead and do the minutes. Do a copy of the minutes. Did you send them to me?
Yeah.
You did? Oh. Okay.
Did you send it to the whole group? I haven't seen. And I made sure I sent it to the ACC Gov,
Okay.
not the
Yeah, let me.
ACC Gov listserv.
Did you send them yesterday?
No.
The big Outlook got down yesterday.
I sent it today.
Okay.
But I have them also.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, maybe it's something, there's something going on with Outlook, Ellen.
There was yesterday.
No, I'm not. I believe that you sent it. Do you want to try it again? Okay. While Blaine is doing that, let's go ahead and just take a look at our agenda and I'll come back to this share screen.
Did you send it from your ACC Gov account?
Did not.
That's probably it. It's probably going through the spam and other security scrubbings.
Maybe, but it should be fine.
I've had problems sending to my personal Gmail account to here where it sat in limbo until a week and a half later. I got a note from the security thing telling me to approve mails that were in the queue.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, sorry for the trouble, everyone. Well, okay, so here's we'll come back to the minutes. Housekeeping is I want to talk about annual meeting, which I would like to postpone. Our major items today are primarily updates. There's been a lot going on. The commission voted on North Avenue. The commission will vote on Prince Avenue. And then I want to update y'all on T-SPA submissions. And then we'll have some, maybe a little more time than usual for staff updates, depending on how long our conversation goes with the other major updates, and then usual committee organization and report backs. Any additions or corrections? No, corrections. Any changes to the agenda?
This is one of the most beautiful agendas I've ever seen.
You mean because there weren't any typos in it?
Oh, no,
Too close.
I'm just trying to offer positive reinforcement.
Because you don't want to have to be stuck with the one doing it if I leave. Right?
True that.
Yeah. Okay. With that, I will entertain a motion to approve our agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, I'm gonna see. You can also try my personal email.
Okay.
Yeah. Jason, without fail, we have some technical difficulty every meeting.
It's not just y'all's group, it happens like you said,
Yeah,
I think
we should
every
see
day.
Gabriella's first. This was like her first meeting on the commission and it went about as bad as it could. And poor Daniel was so stressed and trying to like fix our audio issues. And then other times we'll be like, oh, actually, we don't have this room reserved because they kicked us out.
Greenway Commission experience is similar. So it's-
I'm just gonna put 15 minutes on every agenda or problem.
you know, and if you wanted to, we could just go ahead and
Yeah, maybe
approve the postponement.
we can postpone it. And you know what, y'all? We didn't approve our last minutes either. I think I meant to at the end. So we will approve all of our minutes at the end of the meeting. Well,
Okay.
just to keep us moving along. Thank you everyone for your
To get
flexibility.
ahead of things, if we could approve this meeting's minutes at the end of it.
No, blame how best can you type?
As long as we're talking sight unseen.
What I received were the August minutes. I resent October, personally received August.
Okay.
Yeah, it's-
That is interesting. All right, well, I'll go ahead and move on to housekeeping, which is normally at the end of the year, we do an annual meeting where we review everything that we have done as a commission. And usually this will take the place of our November meeting. It'll be like our early December meeting or something like that. We decided to meet this week. So I have decided to move the annual meeting until our February meeting. And the reason for that is I am simply out of hours for this commission this month and last.
For the sake of the new folks and all that, it might be worth describing the significance of the annual meeting.
Yeah, so we summarize our activities. It'll ideally like anyone can come to any of our meetings. We don't usually have any guests. We talk about like the tabling that we have done, our efforts, and then if we're super organized, we'll go ahead and have our work plan for the mayor and commission. And so the work plan is not necessarily everything that we're going to do in the upcoming year, but it's to give them a heads up if we expect something to come before them that they may have to vote on. So that will be things like policy, like our complete streets policy, the crosswalks policy, things. So it's, it's kind of a big document, and there's a lot of things that I can just look at the minutes and everything and put it together, but I would like time to have interactions with committee chairs and see if there's any pictures or anything to throw in, because last year we put in some pictures. And so instead of doing this January, I've just decided to move it to February. That way we can come back in January and get that together. There's not this sort of like post-holiday, we're not dealing with the post-holiday brain fog and all that other stuff. So is that okay?
Yep.
Right. I don't think I need to take a vote on that. I think general temperature vibe is okay.
So we're not talking about like a retreat, just this
Right.
meeting.
Yeah, it's like a regular meeting, but we recap the year.
Sounds great.
Thank you guys for your flexibility in that. And okay, all the things that have been taking up a lot of time are major items. The first item is I want to update y'all with Daniel, and so I'll probably kick it over to him. On the North Avenue Raise Grant, this is the one where we had a memorandum that we sent to commissioners, and we did hear from a couple of commissioners acknowledging the receipt of the memorandum. So we thank them. The commission ultimately decided to go with a commission defined option, a CDO, and that was produced by Commissioners Thornton and Taylor. And the TLDR is that it retains 5 lanes. One version has unseparated bike lanes, one version there's some separation. It takes out the roundabout, et cetera. And this was put together by somebody else outside of our consultants, which is a little bit different. But my understanding is staff would have to go back to the consultants and create an official version of this CDO that would, I guess, come back before the mayor and commission, because there's a lot that goes on in our bidding process when we approve people to be consultants. They have to meet certain standards and requirements and all this other stuff. So they kind of have to. We can't just go with the outsider person's concept.
What's our, and this may be to Daniel, but what's our level of confidence that the CDO is compliant with the raise requirements?
I'm going to turn that over to staff.
Hey, do you have a formula answer for that, Jason? Okay. I can't speak to staff's stance on that because I am not familiar enough with what our official stance is on that.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah, so what are next steps, or what are the next steps y'all are figuring out?
From what I know, staff, I think our consultant is reviewing the CDO. FHWA is reviewing the CDO. GDOT is reviewing it. And I believe within the CDO, they gave us until March or May to come back. Yeah, so May is to come back by then to let the commission know of feasibility of it. It puts us really far behind schedule, but that's the decision they wanted to go with, so. Yeah.
Was there a specific month that you said that plan had to kind of be in based on the timeline that they had presented to you all with that grant? I can't
Well,
remember.
the latest date for us to be somewhat on schedule, which we still would not have been on schedule, would have been October. So we were kind of up against the deadline then. So I think at this point, we are relying on having Congress pass a law that extends the deadline. And that is usually done. It's not going to be done this fiscal year because of, I don't know if it's called gridlock, but something like that. It has to be done through the budget cycle. So next year or the year after might be when they approve that. I guess it would have to be next year because it's 2025 and the deadline for us to have everything done is September 2026.
That is, but that's not construction.
That is have everything ready for construction.
Okay.
Right-of-way plans.
So preliminary, the concept was supposed to be done by October of this year.
It should have been done a year ago, but yeah.
Okay. So if,
We did it as soon as we could, given the constraints.
sure, yeah, y'all were already under constraints. I'm gonna ask questions that you all may not have the answers to, and that's okay. If Congress does not grant the extension and we can't meet the deadlines, we lose the grant.
We lose the grant and we have to refund all of the money that had been. So there's a certain amount of money that we've already spent today.
That's been ACC Gov.
That's ACC money. We're not getting refunded, what's the word?
Reimbursed.
Reimbursed, thanks, that's the fancy word. We're not being reimbursed for the dollars spent before the signature on the grant agreement. I believe that signature fell within a weird timing, and so even though we have a signature on the grant agreement in October, it wasn't until November because either the state or federal fiscal year is October, whereas our fiscal year is July. Anyways, there was a technicality, so we were delayed by 3 weeks from the signature to when we got an official notice. So in the last 2 weeks, we've gotten notice that all expenditures here from here on will be reimbursable. So we have $3 million set aside for contract services for the design, and the rest of the funds are set aside for construction.
Mhm.
If we do not have the construction plans done, basically all the preliminary engineering, right-of-way acquisition, right-of-way plans, it has to be ready to let for construction. Our original timeline with everything, or like including the bridge, was I think March 2028, which would have been a year and a half behind schedule. So we had to remove some things from the scope, which got it just under the line. But yeah, if we reach September 2026 and there's no extension, then we would lose the grant and have to refund all reimbursed funds from federal monies. So then it would become out of pocket. So we would still have the could probably
They-
like the public. Table and done a little more work, gotten more feedback. We already had several years worth of public input, but yeah,
Mhm.
anyways.
Art, you had a question?
Well, I guess the question is really just about process and with regard to Athens in Motion Commission, is there anything different that we could have done looking back at opportunity? I guess is probably the best way to put it.
This is my take on it is it's a learning. Finally got it, is my read on it. We've applied it for our Congress would be now.
Communities that have been awarded this grant, and they're on this grants that it's just a really tight timeline for this. Heard that it very much is a learning opportunity as far as applying for the grant and then along this. I think it was a different picture of what staff had anticipated as far as the coordination with FHWA and G. After the grant was awarded, we lost a lot of time having to deal with the coordination that was.
I guess the other part to that question is not just the potential of losing this big. It sounds like the plan that we. And is that a fair representation? I mean, 5 lanes and no separated bike structure. I mean, that was our least favorite, I think, in our vote regardless.
Yeah, and I think that we did not anticipate them, we didn't even comment on the roundabout. So maybe that's something that we could have. I think we thought it was kind of a given the history of six. One thing we could have done differently, but considering nothing from our memorandum was to go with the staff recommendation at all. I don't know if us including a roundabout in our recommendation would have helped anything.
I think there's maybe some opportunities to, looking back on it, to like go on some sidewalks, have more walk audits. We did that with GDOT and FHWA and the, potentially had we kind of gone back to our roots within Athens Motion. I know early on with Barber, for instance, we've done a lot of walk audits there. Maybe moving forward, doing more walk audits, organizing those, inviting commissioners, getting them out there to see the conditions from a pedestrian standpoint might have been helpful, but also it's hard to say what would have changed their mind. I mean, the public engagement, it is my understanding that the public engagement results mostly decided to vote on this commission defined options. So public input, having double it.
There was a comment.
In the chat. Oh, thank you. I actually can't read that from here. Can anybody?
Yeah, that's. Oh, yeah.
It says direct. You have to click on that tab.
And it says gonna be.
Like I said, Todd sent me a direct message. I'll just read this over. Yeah, it's like I'm plugged into the wall. So thank you.
Other question about North Avenue. Hey, Jason. Yes, I personally think a lot of lessons to be learned, and seems like we've not been set up for success, and it's easy to get, I think, frustrated with the CBO. Infrastructure, but let's be clear, this the downfall of this project has not started with the CDO. I don't mean to say downfall, but there have been so many challenges to work with. There was the timeline originally when staff was pitching this. It was largely intended we would be able to replace the bridge over the North Laconia River, and because of that timeline, that had to be removed. And I think that potentially eroded some support with some of our elected officials on this project when they saw that bridge was removed.
The bridge over the loop too, that was programmed by GDOT.
Yes, and so GDOT, because of various changes to their prioritization system, they were originally going to replace those old bridges, which have not even a shoulder to stand on over the loop. And they had to cut those out, which is very unfortunate because the largest grant we've ever awarded, and that would have been perfect. So then that's been cut out. And so staff is like, well, we have a $25 million grant on this really tight timeline. What can the traffic counts, and realizing that North Avenue had been built for a daily traffic volume of 45,000 cars per day and has never, ever gotten close to that amount. I think it's 13,800 is the traffic counts, and that's less than Prince Avenue, which gets 15,500. Like, well, what are, it's all things Daniel has said before, what's our projected growth? Could we accommodate a lane reduction? And so consultants and staff worked together and came up with a 3-lane option. And then I'm trying to accommodate certain stakeholders like the Classic Center and downtown, came up with a compromise to have 2 lanes leading away from downtown, 1 lane leading in, even though we could have accommodated 3-lane. And so you all know that we prefer the 3-lane in our recommendation, and 4-lane is fine. And then I will say I did take a look at the public input after those 3 and 4-lane options were presented in the roundabout. And it did seem that people were this anonymized
Yes, we had, I believe there were 7 people. 7 total responses to the survey. Now, conditional, where some people said, if this was 3-lane, then I would definitely be in favor. Other people said, I might be in favor, but I'm hesitant with the roundabout. Months, and ultimately this is kind of kind of one of those things where a nearby community publicly against it.
Yeah, so the CDO has not been weighed in on, has not had the level of public engagement the way that the other options did. So I mean, I think that there's frustration on all sides. I think there's probably frustration on the part of the people who wanted the better infrastructure and who came and commented and gave public input and said, hey, I'm trying to cross here with my children and I cannot. And then there's the erosion of trust of, I think some people closely replacement, maybe like 3 bridge replacements that we couldn't do. And then of course, we're all very frustrated. And then staff is, dealing with these. So I don't know. I think everyone, given the information that they have and the experiences that they have, are doing the best that they can. But there's a lot we're learning from this. The unpaid, unelected take.
You were
We were very nicely restrained on Athens or
Measured.
Yeah, measured, thank you. Thank you. Any further questions or discussions about Fourth Avenue?
The only thing I'll mention, I think moving forward, we have a good idea of how we can avoid this type of thing in the future. So we're not taking this as we are never applying for federal funds again, or, like, this is a perfect example. We get frustrated by the process, would say those types of things. Ultimately, really early on within this whole raise grant process that applying for the planning grants are a really effective way to make sure you have all those done and the project is approved and in favor by the community. Give me just a second. I'm gonna see what I can do about this connection. Sorry.
Teresa, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Sorry.
Nice to see you.
Glad you got the link. Okay. I'm hoping that I just fixed the streaming quality. Ultimately, what I was getting at with that statement was just that moving forward, planning grant is still a multi-year process, and then apply for the construction, and then once you get that grant, then it's a multi-year process. But ultimately, had we been going into the this phase of raise after getting the implementation money, having an approved concept already, and having gone through years of public engagement, I think it would have been a lot easier for us to transition straight into design and engineering. So the positive thing is that we have one of those planning grants for Oglethorpe. That is on the consent agenda right now, in next month's voting session. So that's awesome. And it's a planning grant that's going to give us a great master plan for how we're approaching safety. We've got we're getting ready. I know I've been saying it for the year, but we are ultimately, it's there are some lessons learned. We're much more familiar with federal grant dollars now, and hopefully, with Jason being on board, we'll have some more breathing room and be able to start hitting those grants again. We kind of took a year and a half hiatus maybe from applying, so that's why we haven't been asking for any support letters lately, but we'll be getting back into that soon. We're optimistic going forward.
All right, on to items that are entirely locally funded and in our control. Prince Avenue. So the SPLOST office and the Prince Avenue user group have come forth with some additional improvements to the locally owned side of Prince from Millage into to Pulaski, which includes the road diet, which was implemented as part of a pilot project, our first successful pilot project since the Athens Motion Commission has been seated, and since we had a bike ped coordinator. The last time there was a pilot project, there was not this body, there was not a user group, and there was not a bike ped coordinator. And I think that had we had those things that Barnett Shoals pilot project might have gone a lot better. But this one was made permanent, voted to become permanent 2 years ago after like 1,600 public comments on 1,800 data points. And we had a consultant like look at traffic levels and whether traffic deviated into the neighborhoods because of the road diet, and that was not found to be true. Let's see, like speed slowed, which was the objective. However, travel times improved for people coming into town in the mornings. Actually, I think they just improved in the mornings, general. And they increased a little bit in the evenings, but some of that, our understanding, or according to talking to Daniel, is that the Barber Street light is not on the grid. So the reason why people get backed up in some of these scenarios is not because of the 3 lanes or something, or there's less lane and people can't move. It is because that light is not online. It's just doing its own thing.
Yeah, what does that mean, not on the grid?
So just that, so we have connected signals that are connected through fiber and they talk to each other, smart signals. And both the millage and Prince signal, as well as the Pulaski and Prince signal, are connected through fiber to all the other, they're in the connected network. Barber and Prince is not. So what that means is that has to be manually.
However many seconds and.
Yeah, it gets manually programmed and there's a natural lag that happens over time. So it gets out of sync with the other signals. Whereas if it were tied into, it could adapt a little better if it were tied in as a smart signal. To
something that can be mitigated?
That's one of the things that we've brought up recently to our project manager. We have, I think, 3 projects that overlap this signal, and
You're hoping
my understanding is that up until like a couple weeks ago, none of them realized that, like so I was talking to our traffic engineering division, and we were out there working on that intersection on something else. I'm installing a counter that'll be up in the next, hopefully, what do you think, Jason? 2 weeks? So we'll have an ongoing counter that can count cars as well as bikes. And that'll give us 6 months plus worth of data. However long that counter is there, we'll be able to go and see a live count, which we're really excited about. I wish I had it 6 months ago, but for various reasons, it's taken a lot of time to get to here. Mostly my workload. But that I was talking with them about it, and they said, oh yeah, this is actually our #1 most needed signal to be connected to fiber. So, and then he said, oh yeah, I think it's looped into the project because he had a meeting with Tim and they were talking about, it being funded. And so I double checked, and it wasn't part of the Prince Avenue project, and it wasn't part of the Barber Street project. There's also a GDOT signal safety project. I don't think it was part of that. We do have a T-SPLOS project that is for connecting smart signals together and fiber. So it's possible that they were looking at it going in there, but I went ahead and reached out to our project manager, Diana. She's project manager on 2 of those, and also our point of contact with GDOT on that 3rd one. So she's now aware, and hopefully through some effort, we can figure it out and get some fiber connecting.
So, one final question on it. Do you already have the glass to that intersection, or does that have to be run as well?
Has to be run. Unfortunately, the spot where normally fiber would go in, I don't know a lot about this, but I remember seeing someone running fiber, and it turns out it was a private company running fiber, and we can't piggyback. So I don't know that we can run it in the same spot that we normally run it. I think we have to find a way to work around there.
Right. That was my next question, was does ACC run its own glass, or do y'all use subs?
We run our own in that, like, so if a private utility runs fiber, we can't just tap into it. We have to run our own. Now, we probably should subcontractors. Do you know anything about the fiber stuff?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Okay. Oh, I meant Jason, sorry.
Sorry.
But that's good to know. I could, if you want to actually write me some questions, I could get them answered because we have a utility coordinator and I could get that answer for you.
I've actually got a fairly decent idea who the private vendor might have been. So,
Nice, yeah.
Is that the intersection that Commissioner Fisher was at a sticking point in the last meeting?
I believe he had issues with a few of the non-signalized intersections. So I haven't met with the design team, but I know one of those are where we're doing the green infrastructure project. And I haven't heard of any CDO or commission defined option, but I'm sure that's something that the design team could incorporate into another round in the future, or I don't know if we need to incorporate into this one.
I believe Commissioner Fisher had some concerns regarding sightlines out of Hill Street, particularly for folks making a left-hand turn or other turns.
I believe it was a left-hand turn and yeah, Hill Street, which is that where we're doing the green infrastructure, or is that?
Going on Cobb Street, I have it
okay.
pulled up.
So.
Yes, okay, so what's and the item is a couple of things. One is some green stormwater infrastructure, which will be the first of its kind in Athens. I'll show that in a moment. The other big thing is improvements along the Pulaski intersection, which I will also show in a moment. And probably maybe the thing that's biggest, most relevant to us is they're replacing the Zeekla zippers. So those little Lego blocks with removable concrete buffers. They're precast concrete.
the ones that are already on Prince.
Yeah, they're replacing them with that. And I didn't realize that they're made in Georgia. That's what they said. That's cool. And the great thing about these is they can be pulled up and put back down for repaving. And I think that this project also includes repaving.
Yes.
So that's a great thing. So the street could look really good at the end of it. I'm going to just show this briefly. If you guys have any detailed questions, we might just have to get staff to email us later. But this is Cobb Street, which is comes out at Triangle Park here. So this is where they're talking about putting in some grasses and things, and they even have the specific grasses proposed here. So this is in that agenda packet that y'all can look into if you want to like nerd out about this. I know trees, but I do not know grasses. I don't know my grass, y'all. Sorry. Oh damn. So that's in your agenda packet. That are in the agenda packet. Y'all can take a look at that if you would like. But that's very exciting. I'm hoping that that goes well and that we'll be able to have other instances to use that. And I'll scroll to the Pulaski. I'm going to scroll to the concrete, precast concrete. So this is kind of what it looks like. I know it's very exciting to look at as a diagram, but it's very important for us. You can see how it will be put in on the bike lane.
No, I can't.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm looking at.
I know, I'm sorry, These diagrams, they're like, they're hard for regular folks like us to take a look at.
So ultimately,
Oh, okay, I get it.
what we're looking at is there's a 12-inch concrete buffer that's 12 inches wide and 6-inch tall. It does have chamfered edges, which means it's kind of rounded. And we are putting vertical flex posts on top of those. So there will be some vertical height there to show visually. I will say these are not designed to stop a car from driving into the bike lane.
For the car to be able to see it's there.
Right. And it is noticeable. If you go over it with your tire, it's still 6 inches and it will hit your frame if you have a low vehicle, and it won't feel nice. So it's not a speed bump, but but it's also not meant for, you know, in terms of when you see Jersey barriers on the interstate, those are designed to kind of deflect vehicles back into the roadway. We're not dealing with speed limits that are as high as they are on the interstate, and so we couldn't, like, basically this is not going to stop like aggressive or just reckless driving, but it'll
be analogous to what would happen if they had hit the curb with sidewalk.
exactly. And in a lot of cases, you know, as you drive around Athens, you'll notice that a lot of curb in Athens, it may at one point have been 6 inches, but it's definitely more in the 0 or negative to 3 to 5 inches.
If we've repaved 5 times.
And you even notice the granite kind of sinks over time. That's one of the issues we have with those traditional granite curbs, so.
Yeah, so you know what, even, this is permanent infrastructure, but this continues to be an experiment for us in Athens-Clarke County. So yeah, maybe we like it because it looks different than the zippers. Maybe we end up not liking it because some child actually gets hit in Fifth Avenue. I don't know. But we're all in this together. We're just gonna, I support it.
Yeah.
You know, and the user group, they've done a lot of research on everything that they have done. So I think that they're a group that we can lean into their recommendations. One of the other big things is some changes to Pulaski Street. I'm looking for this one specific diagram. I'm sorry to keep scrolling.
Well, it's kind of nice to have this rounded thing on a barrier, because then you're less likely to catch a pedal if you're going too close to something.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. So this is Pulaski Street up here. This is Prince Avenue. Downtown is bottom right. And the First Baptist Church is in the bottom left corner. So the big change that's happening here is the county is going to purchase a bit of land from the First Baptist Church. So that way we have this bike lane goes through here instead of out and around. And because I know that there's some confusion, you feel like you're a little bit out in traffic here at this point. The great thing about this is it's such minimal right of way we're having to purchase that it won't even affect the sign for the church.
And the wide angle on that right-hand turn there wouldn't really slow the drivers down, so having the lights a little more protected is.
Yes, it looks like that the design does include a little bit
Extended,
more
yeah.
about.
I don't think it's more. I think it's the same amount.
Okay, yes.
But we gave more of it's a gourd space. And it gives more of a separation between the bikes and that. Right now,
Be light green underneath what's currently there, so.
yeah.
Yeah, there's
see, it looks like we're getting a little bit.
There's white paint. So this is about the same, yeah. So, some other really great improvements I'm just now noticing is oh my God, they're actually gonna put a crosswalk here. Is that really I just now noticed that.
I have a question.
Not a crosswalk from the church to where the Catholic Church used to be presently. This design includes crosswalk.
I have a question if anybody can hear me.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Teresa, go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. So the area that has the striping, the diagonal striping, is that just going to be painted? Or is there going to be some treatment there to keep the drivers from making, a really wide right turn?
I believe that is the Gore area.
Yeah.
That will have the concrete barriers in that area, I believe.
Okay, good.
I think.
I think it's just paint.
A gore
Is it
area?
paint?
The diagonal striping outside of the curb, that's the gore striping. And I think it's just gonna be pavement markings because I think they have to leave some of that turning radius for longer vehicles like buses or trucks.
Okay, so it's gonna be used basically to shortcut the turn, but I guess there's nothing we can do about that.
There might be flex pylons, and also that whole red area, I believe is, mountable truck apron, or is that?
I would
paint?
wonder if it was
And,
curb
see if
and
there's anything
brick.
for, sorry, I'm gonna scroll back and see.
Yeah, look for the layout plan for the, protected barriers.
It says, what does it say?
It looks like curb and gutter they drew there.
Construction units, that is for. There's none.
The 4 and 5 are pointing to the The
Solid white lines.
diagonal striping.
It's just paint is what it is.
Yeah, but it looks like it's butting up to the curb. I
Uh-huh.
think that area that was red outside of the bike lane, but inside of the travel lane, I think that's gonna be kind of like a large pedestrian island type of space for people waiting to cross. Is what it looks like to me.
Okay, so you're saying there would be like curb abutting that red area?
Yes, it's what it looks like is drawn to me, yeah.
Okay, good.
Never knew that term, floor area. That's a useful word.
And there's some other improvements in here too, but some other things that I'm noticing, it looks like, I cross this almost like every day. Going over to like Prince Avenue businesses like Athens-Clarke and Hendershots when I'm on foot, or like along the bike lanes when I'm on bike. It looks like there's some adjustments in the placements of the existing crosswalks, so I love that this one is shorter and we won't have people turning into others from left and right onto Dougherty. It's gonna be great. And it looks like they're realigning the crosswalk here across Pulaski, so you don't have this diagonal. I think maybe sightlines will be better there. Anyway.
Looks nice.
Yeah, so there's some great things coming. The commission has already received a presentation. Did they get an official presentation on this, Daniel, or did they just get an agenda item? I'm not sure if this was covered in work session or not.
I think it was.
Okay. So the commission, this did come up during agenda setting. And there were a lot of people who spoke in favor of Prince Avenue, and I know it was kind of last minute, but I do appreciate Alan and Randy and Teresa for showing up in support of this project. It did not get put on the consent agenda, so I'm intending to go back and be present a week from today. If any other Athens in Motion commissioners would like to be there and educate and inform our commissioners or express how this project aligns with the Athens in Motion Commission, or you personally, if you'd like to speak on, on your own behalf, love to have you. Great. What day? It's Tuesday, December 3rd at 6 p.m. And also happy to chat after this meeting about that more.
Lauren, I can't be there, I'm sorry to say.
That's okay, Teresa.
If you want, I'll send a letter.
Yeah. Send another email and CC Daniel or me, so we know they got it. Yeah, so trying to think if there's anything else to share with y'all about that. We're hoping for a yes vote. It's not this project, like the 3-laning and the addition of the bike lanes, that was already made permanent in the vote 2 years ago. So it shouldn't be on the table to have the lanes removed. However, I'm not sure what a commission defined option could say, or which is why if people are invested, or if you're interested in these improvements and don't want to go back, love to have you speak at the commission meeting.
I was impressed with the turnout, and it was incredible. How many people were there to speak to the Prince Avenue? And what really surprised me was how many local, the residents within, a couple blocks of it, we're just so thrilled about it. Many are UGA employees and commute to work now
Yeah,
via bicycle.
because of
And
this project, yeah.
Because of that project. And it should not be an issue at this point, based on that input. But yeah, it's really nice news.
And the way this potentially ties back to us is that I'm hoping that as part of implementing the Athens in Motion plan, instead of having every project have to be this big overhaul, this expensive kind of thing like North Avenue, we can phase things and do things more incrementally and build that trust with the community and have more of a collaboration between residents, people who pass through, and businesses. And you know, the tools of the trade are changing all the time. The Zeekel zippers were kind of a brand new thing. They were worth trying, and I love it that we can reuse them. So that's what I'm hoping for, is that it is part of all our smaller projects initiative, or smaller programs, not projects, right? To implement some pilot projects. And I know that with our plan revisions, we are trying to think about roadways in terms of phases and not just throw it down there. But so, yeah.
You know, just to comment on Randy's, your statement about people who weren't commuting by bicycle into UGA campus, but now are. But I think that, you know, if that could be one of the areas that we focus on going forward for choosing other projects, there might be little pockets of town that you know, we could open up quite easily with some, you know, decent infrastructure, a small program infrastructure. And, you know, I think that most of what we're doing are, you know, is addressing this, but, you know, I think that's a really important component to get cars off the road in general.
Yeah, and to keep closing those, I mean, I kind of see Prince almost, you know, like a backbone for town, and then we just keep feeding into that. We're, you know, connecting other neighborhoods to this overall network that, you know, people, the thing that amazed me too is that when the conditions are right and people feel comfortable, bicycles and e-scooters just come out.
Yeah.
And everybody's on.
Yeah, well, it's easier than a car.
Yeah, well, when I was at Porch Fest, and, you know, essentially everything shuts down to motor vehicles, and there were just bikes everywhere. The one show I went to, and I put this in my comments, 23 bicycles I counted that one show. I mean, just people just get out. If they feel they're safe enough, they're gonna be on their bike. And which means less cars.
Yeah. I think that's kind of what I have in mind with the Millage and also Broad Street projects, that we could, you know, there could be that kind of impact on those projects if they were to go forward.
Yeah, great way to tie it back to like what we're submitting out there. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, really, I think maybe what I wish the public would understand is, like, we're not trying to force people who don't want to be on bikes to be on bikes. We're not even there. We're going after like the low hanging fruit, the people, the 60-something% of people who are interested in biking. And this was that data is old. That was from like our original plan back before e-bikes were a thing, before people had the personal scooters. So people are looking for other ways to get around. And when someone who lives close, who lives in an in-town neighborhood or a little bit further out, chooses a mode of transportation that doesn't take up quite as much space, that does leave room on our roads for people who are just like, I'm just not there. I would never.
Yeah. Or physically can't ride a bicycle or a scooter, and then have to drive a car.
But even if it's 10% to 20% of the traffic, that's really meaningful change, I think. And the other thing is that the economic impact on the people who go with that alternative transportation, if they could avoid buying and insuring a second car, you know, or something or a first car, you know, I mean, there's a real economic impact to a lot of families if you make it so that you can get around easier. So
There just seems to be very few options to increase capacity of
Right.
cars in Athens. I mean, it's an old city, narrow roads,
And
people parking everywhere.
we've tried that. We tried that with West Broad Street, 6 lanes, 7 lanes, one of the deadliest roads in the week. Even GDOT is taking a look and being like, we shouldn't have done that. They really are, I think, right? We voted and showed our support for potentially a multi-use path on that corridor, and our previous projects funding is going towards that.
Really, the only way we can increase capacity is get some people off of
You know,
and feel safe.
just one more little tangent on this tangent-y kind of topic. The day after our presidential election, I was not feeling super upbeat, but then I saw that the speed limit signs on College Station are now 35 miles per hour. I've been asking for that for like 5 years or something, and people have promised me that, yeah, it's actually been approved, but now it's 35 the whole way out from East Campus. So like, hey, it's little local victory. They still count.
Yeah, that's a great point. Not all changes have to be big overhauls. Sometimes little things like speed limit signs or pedestrian
Yeah.
intervals, like at Mama's Boy, that's made a huge difference. So, yeah. So Art's comment was a natural segue into T's Lost, our next T's Lost. And so the big update here is at the November 6th meeting, the Athens-Clarke County Commission voted to extend the deadline from November 10th to January 6th. And I had everything almost done, but since they gave me an extension, I was like, let's have some breathing room. So where we are with that is the Broad Street project cost estimates are done. It's ready to submit. I just have to plug it in. Same with millage. And then the tier 1 big bucket that Teresa worked on is ready for my review and submission. And I think we had a general amount we were going to ask him there, and small programs that Randy did was ready for my review and submission. And thanks to Art who looked through, and Teresa, I know you looked through a couple of other ones. Anyone else have a chance to look through and leave comments? I forgot. Well, thank you for anyone else who looked at what we did. So they're very close. I just actually need to sit down and do it. And this is another case where I'm just kind of out of hours, but we will meet that. One thing I wanted to ask y'all is this could come later in our work plan. So it's up to you guys, but do we want to send a memo to the Merit Commission about these 4 projects that we intend to submit?
I'm a little gun shy about that.
I mean, they're the ones that ultimately just on there. Okay, so one of the reasons why I was thinking about it is it occurred to me as Commissioner Taylor was thinking like that, she would like more time, that they may be submitting projects and maybe it would be useful for them to know what we're submitting. Since some of these projects intersect with obviously all of our projects are going to intersect with someone's district. Like maybe the commissioners who live along Village would like to know that, so they don't have to, so if they hear about someone submitting it, maybe that person decides to submit anyway, which is fine, or maybe they're like, well, Athens in Motion is submitting a project. It's okay to have multiple projects that cover the same area, that's fine. So I would just want to open the floor to discussion if y'all wanted to have any form of official communication.
Is there a way to cover those 4 topics succinctly?
Yes, it would be very brief.
Then, yeah, probably a good idea.
Seems like it. I don't think it can hurt. And if there's an opportunity, if we invite, we can have comments and talk to commissioners in our districts privately if they want.
Yeah, sure.
Was there a chance that we say that we're submitting this, they say, well, we were going to submit this, but since Athens in Motion is doing it, there was something else I submitted and put us against more projects competing for the same route?
I mean, I think that's fine if that happens. It just it is what it is. I mean, if they were going to submit it, then maybe they're also more likely to entertain having it on the T-Splosh to begin with. So,
Do we know how much money the mayor and commission are going to set aside for their own purposes?
thank you, Teresa. Actually, I should have included that in this. They're setting aside, I believe, 70%, 140 million for essential infrastructure. So that means that the committee, the T-Splosh committee, will have 60 million to allocate.
60?
That's right.
So that means that the T-Splosh committee will not be looking at things like stormwater, drainage repairs and paving and that sort of thing? I mean, have the mayor and commission taken that stuff out? So this would really be just special purpose projects?
Yes and no, Teresa. Yeah, pavement maintenance and I guess stormwater are already included. But I know that staff still has a number of things that they would like funded, like Daniel has a slew of projects that he's been working on. So this is not everything that's essential. But it is the top priorities of the commission. And so the good thing is that this committee won't have to weigh in on pavement maintenance at all, like the last two committees did.
Right, that felt very inappropriate. I mean, that felt like that's kind of an executive level decision that they're, asking us, an uneducated citizen group to try to figure out, which was, that wasn't, that did not sit right with me. So I'm glad they're taking that off the table, but that means there's less money for the good stuff.
Well, if you think about it, the commission is also an uneducated group, so.
Well, that's true, but they get all these things kind of packaged and processed, so theoretically they can read them and become educated.
Ideally.
Yeah, well, also the committee, the T-Splosh committee could as well, but yeah, to your point, they're, the group of people on T-Splosh are they're just regular folks like us, y'all. And several of us have been on those committees and, it's a crash course in infrastructure and funding. I have learned a lot. I didn't know what a culvert was until T-Splosh 2018. Well.
Right, and I did learn from Commissioner Culpepper that I am not on that T-Splosh committee. So.
Oh, you have been informed that you are officially not?
I asked him, I said, whether I was on the committee or not. He said, no, I've selected two other people.
Well, Teresa, just wait until that first or second meeting when the committee realizes how often they're gonna meet, because there will be some people who drop off. I'm serious.
Yeah, they will. I actually sent a memo. I just said, I appreciate the update and, just if they feel like they can't handle the workload, I would be happy to step in. So we'll see.
Did he happen to state who those people were?
Nope, and I didn't ask.
Well, thanks for trying, Teresa. And I don't know. I mean, I know in the past it has been very difficult for commissioners to find the people who are willing to carve out 3 hours, 2 or 3 times a week,
Right.
their lives for this.
It's a heavy lift,
It really is, yeah. Yes, so that's my T-Splosh 2026 update.
If somebody's willing to.
Questions or comments about that? All right, I wonder. Okay, I'll send a memo since you guys seem to be in favor of that communication.
The communication can't hurt.
Okay, I don't think I need to take a vote on that. I think say that, you guys authorized me to submit about, there'll be bullet points and then I'll just mention briefly how Millage doesn't have a corridor study or anything like that, and Broad Street, there's GDOT stuff. And the other two are pretty self-explanatory. Okay, great. That concludes the major updates, so we can turn it over to staff for staff updates. And so paging Todd.
I'm here.
Hey, how have you been?
We're doing pretty good.
It's so dark at your office right now. Is it really? I guess it's dark.
It's dark outside. I have the lights on, so it's dark
Okay.
outside.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna share my screen. This one. So can you see the construction pictures?
Yes.
So this is the Nature Center Greenway.
Ah,
They're right now currently working on the walls and utilities and storm pipes and that kind of stuff. So they're getting all that completed. This picture, the big picture where you're seeing the retaining wall is down there at the original Nature Center, which is Walker Hall. It's just for that formalizing that parking lot and the turnaround, the bus turnaround that was at the end of the way area. So, but that one's coming along. Anticipated project completion. We're beginning to talk about ribbon cutting in January sometime. So, it's moving along. So pretty good.
Yeah, January's great.
yeah.
And then the Firefly Trail Phase 3. Derek said at our last meeting that, oops, I didn't, somehow it didn't update. Sorry, I didn't save it. But anyway, I'll just tell you what happened is, um, the contracts for Phase 3 are, being signed and everything's being cleared, cleared and stuff. So construction of that one should start hopefully in January. And they still have some outstanding easement parcels down there at that Oakmont subdivision, I believe, the Kearney Lake area that Derek is working on getting final offers to those people, and he hopes to get those easements. But that one's moving along, and hopefully we see construction beginning in early 2025 on starting at the Hancock Road area and working towards Winterville. And then the Greenway Trail at Dudley Park at the Oak Street. We're currently working with Georgia Power, and they're moving their transmission pole, and so we're having to make sure they allow for a sidewalk, well, not a sidewalk, a multi-use path connection between Oak Street to the Easley Mill trailhead. It's like a 60, 70-foot connection that will connect that part of the greenway to the multi-use trail that's along Oak Street. And so we are working with them to make sure their transmission pole is far enough outside of the existing driveway to allow that easy connection. And then at that point, Derek will get the plans out for bid for the trail segment. The bridge is, under construction currently, and they're doing borings and other preliminary stuff and getting utilities moved. But eventually, he hopes to get that out pretty. I believe Georgia Power is shooting for a February to 2025 to move that pole, that transmission pole that's right there at the Easley Mill trailhead and Oak Street area. So that's sort of the timeline for that thing. And then that's the only other project I really was go touch on was the bus transfer station that they're proposing at Southeast Clarke Park. And sorry, I don't have a picture of it, but the I believe it's on the mayor and commission's December agenda to vote on. And they were looking at putting a bus transfer station near the skate park that's out there, and then installing a red light at the park drive And Daniel may more know as much as on that one as I do, but since it's involves red lights. But anyway, that was something else I was going to bring up.
Todd, this is Ed. I was wondering, I was going to mention to the commission about the Greenways long range plans regarding Lake Deacle and Shady Brook. The building out from across the Car Creek extension up through there over to near the Atlas Apartments. Can you mention anything about that? You probably have better information than I do.
We've talked about it in the past. So yes, that's if that developer he across from Cars Creek, it talked about making that connection for us and everything. And so we reviewed the plans and provided comments. It seems like last meeting I went to the planning commission, which was just a couple of weeks ago, for staff, the planning commission, where we give our comments. We provided comments on that. And I know that was something y'all had talked about, is the desire to just go straight across right there at Cars Creek or at Carriage Lane and go down through his, because he wanted to route everybody through his entrance. And so we asked that as part of our comment was to keep that route that takes you down through the little central core of his development, but also give us the option of going straight if for people that just want to go straight across. And so we put that in as a comment. So
yeah, and I don't know how much you all had heard about that possibility, and it is way out there, but it would potentially be able to bring people onto the North Oconee Greenway at the terminus of the Car Street extension all the way over to Oconee Street or I guess Lexington Road, there by the new Atlas apartment complex, which should have a lot of potential. So
With this whole thing, it's had a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So that now I don't have to bring it up. Thank you.
okay.
Todd, one other question. Do you have a best estimate for when the Firefly to all the way to Winterville is going to be actually like totally complete and rideable?
Projected is what I understand is about a year. So we're probably looking at ribbon cutting in early 2026.
Okay, that's great.
Yes, and the commission did review this parcel in their agenda setting meeting. I believe that was for 215 Shady Brook Drive, and there are some plans and stuff in there, and they're non-binding. Share that with this group. Yes, that'll be exciting. Yeah, I love it. When we can reach a certain sort of like critical mass when it comes to our trails, and developers are like, oh yeah, I want to connect to that. And
Yeah,
That to me that is such good news.
Yeah.
And it makes sense for them.
yeah, maybe like
If we do get from Lexington over to the Firefly connection that we're looking at as well, that will tie all that together really nicely.
yeah. Just put a nice bow on it.
great. Yeah, and then more people have their modes of transportation, gets cars off the road, and then less traffic for people who are in cars. We keep saying. Great.
Todd, your office is also aware of the Lexington Road connector from Firefly down to Lexington Road at Atlas Way. Did you already mention that?
He just referenced it.
Okay. Sorry.
Anything else, Todd?
That's everything pretty much. Other than the MLK is, it's stuck in GDOT land of taking forever to basically do the contract work and that kind of stuff. So the basically going from North Avenue along North MLK to First, we're we're going through the GDOT process of getting the consultant hired to start doing design work on that. So it's a slow process, but we did meet the other day to make our next step. So it's moving forward, but I'll let y'all know once the consultant gets hired and we begin public input and design of that little segment of the trail.
That's exciting. Yeah, I keep forgetting about that one. Okay,
Yeah.
seems like it's moving along. Right. Thank you, Todd. And I guess if we don't see you, like, happy Turkey Day, Happy New Year.
All right, y'all too.
It is.
Indeed.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to Transportation Public Works staff updates. Yeah, I'll let y'all kick it off with whatever you want to share with us.
Go ahead, Katie.
Sure.
Yeah, I did a crash report. I emailed it to Carter. Can you put it up?
Yeah. Yeah, I see it right here. Yes.
Yeah, we decided to do the monthly updates as the last calendar month, full calendar month. So you'll see a few things from October that we talked about last time. Have your feedback on the format, if there's enough information. Yeah, so this would be every month, and then we were talking about doing an annual update that goes into a little bit more depth. But anyway, so yeah, 647 crashes in October. Wow, that's like
That baffles me. It's amazing.
it's incredible. Yeah, we're trying to think just the amount of police time, and this is the, of course, this is the one that police respond to. Certainly, there are lots that don't get picked up.
So 11 had pedestrians.
Yes. 5 with bicycles, and then I did kind of sort out the more serious ones. So this is injury levels A and B, and we had no fatalities. It's good. Kind of heat map of where the more serious injury crashes are. Yeah, surprising, I guess, although, yeah, 29 stands out, doesn't it?
Yeah, like district. And various salute.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. This looks my neighborhood. It's
I
dangerous.
kind of, there's also a version with markers you'll see below, but
Okay.
it wasn't displaying them very well. So I wrote up there were 3 total that were serious injury. So I plan to do the serious injury and fatality ones every month. The 2 of them we talked about last month, I think. 2 of the motorcycle ones. And then there was another one later in the month, kind of an odd story, there seems to be a common theme, people fleeing the state patrol. This was single vehicle. Operator factors.
Stupid.
Yeah, the PIT maneuvers are,
Yeah, that's when the police officer tries to stop another vehicle by turning into it, usually at high speed, actually.
Yeah, you put your front quarter panel into their rear quarter panel and causes them to veer out of control.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of, sure, it's very exciting. The videos are very exciting to see. I got this quote off Wikipedia questioning whether it was a good idea.
yeah, I think the AJC did this is not our police force, okay, so but the AJC recently did a big investigation about these kinds of maneuvers that were performed by Georgia State Patrol. And the ramifications of them. Yeah, people who are really, you like that? Thank you. The people, like the bystanders who are hurt, and I don't know if we necessarily have data about that, about our local police, so I wouldn't go there, but they have come up as questionable.
Yeah, and I'm just reaching out again to Athens-Clarke County Police. just to start conversations on, you know, all sorts of issues, but I might add this to the list.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
if they thought this person really needed to be stopped immediately, or if they have standard practices.
Right.
If he was really posing a danger to other people, he needed to be halted.
Yeah, I think Georgia, for the Georgia State Patrol, Georgia is one of the only states that you don't have to get a supervisor's permission before pursuing like giving chase or something like that.
Interesting. Well, that keeps coming up with the patrol pursuits. So this is a map of the pedestrian involves crashes of all severities. I did not write this up. Let's see.
So the ones near West Broad are not actually on West Broad.
That's true. I can make sure, actually. Yeah, I did.
Symbology on these types of symbols is sometimes weird
Yeah,
because it is a point value and it's usually on the centroid of the symbology. So it might be worth just double checking to see if it's pointing at where the arrow is at the bottom or if it's the center of the symbol.
yeah. Yeah, that, I'll make a note of that.
Centrally.
Yeah, it's a GIS word, sorry.
What did you say?
Pretty sure West Broad's a fault zone.
Yeah, that's a good question. If it's, and you know, they're not always geolocated perfectly, but you do have the names of the street and the cross street in the report, so you can always look into these.
Mhm.
So I didn't write these up, but I wrote briefly describe the bike involved accidents, crashes. So, yeah, and then if you scroll down.
Okay.
We very briefly said what they were. We had 2 right hooks, yeah, Timothy got some, yeah. Yeah. I don't know which of these were severe or not. I'll probably check that out. Well, no, they weren't, because they weren't very serious.
Might be helpful. Are these colors always the same symbology in the map? Because what we could do is insert that, just the legend within the document if it is.
Yeah.
A note.
The problem was they were all like, I think blue is property damage only. I don't know.
So
But
that's the O, yeah, of Capco.
there were some issues with symbologies, which is why I ended up putting the heat map on the serious injuries, because it had one that was a serious injury in the report as just property in the symbology, so isn't that helpful? But it is good to know.
What does pine straw mean?
Right, that was the story. So someone was spiking on, it said on the sidewalk, but I know they have kind of a side path on East Campus Road.
Yes, yeah, they have a side path, yeah.
And the person saw 2 other bicyclists approaching him and veered off the sidewalk to let them pass and slipped on pine straw.
Okay, that can happen.
It's great though. So, yeah, I might look at that and see if it's actually, because that path seems big enough for free. I don't know exactly the location.
Yeah, I did hear, and maybe this was in November, I did hear about, maybe we found it under public input, but someone did tell me about a bike crash that happened on Prince Avenue. I believe it was truck turned without using their blinker into auto work parking lot. And
I thought you said it was at the church.
you're right, the church. It's just past the Bottle Works. So right past Meg's
First
is
Baptist.
the Meg's exit only. There is a entrance for First Baptist, I believe. And a truck kind of slowed suddenly and turned, like a delivery truck, I believe, turned right.
Like T-bone the truck.
And yeah, they
That before.
stopped as much as they could, but there was some strong words. Actually, I think we might have a potential witness on the online call.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Wait, what?
It happened on Friday before the game. And so, yeah, it was a van and they were just driving along and this bicyclist he came zipping past me and that van just decided to whoop it into that parking lot. What do you call it? Porticache driveway. And I believe that's a one-way driveway too.
Yeah.
And the bicyclist luckily he was skilled enough not to crash, but he did hit the van, and the bicyclist stopped and started yelling at the van driver, and they exchanged words, and then the cyclist went on. So, but it was something. It was right in front of your eyes, and you couldn't do anything about it. It was scary there for a moment.
Oh, yeah.
Be great to close as many curb cuts as possible on Prince.
This one is a little tricky because of the access from Meg's also being restricted currently.
Right, okay, so probably maybe in the past, like this before it was closed, they might have taken a right-hand turn and gone into this driveway on May, so they missed their turn a long time ago. They should have gone on.
In the chat,
Yeah.
Bike Athens, I believe that would be our friend Scott, said he talked to that guy today. And I assume he means the bicyclist.
Scott, do you want to go on mic?
Yeah, I don't have any more insight than other than what Todd mentioned, but I did speak to him today, and he was not hurt, but he was very upset about it.
Yeah, it's
Certainly.
It is absolutely scary when you are a vulnerable road user and you only have a helmet on to collide with a massive vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not, there's an imbalance of power there.
And another thing I saw on another Friday that I told Daniel about is I saw a car enter the turning lane in the center. Can you pop the picture back up, Daniel? Right there at Pulaski. And they drove the entire length of that turning lane up to the Wendy's and almost hit these pedestrians in the crosswalk that's up there, and the lights were flashing and everything at the crosswalk, but she was going at such speed that she almost clipped them. They just luckily poked their head out around the car, and it was a truck, and saw them coming. But that day traffic was backed up the entire length from the intersection up there all the way back and going outbound. And so she was just very impatient and drove the entire length of that turning lane.
I see that on Village at 5 points.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's very dangerous behavior. And maybe that's something like when we're talking with folks that we can impart upon them, like, no, I know that you, friend, are a safe driver, but all it takes is one person to really mess things up for the rest of us.
Yeah.
There's a reason why, we want to have a protected infrastructure. Gosh, yeah, I don't know what to do about that.
Yeah, and like one of the comments that we have heard from traffic engineering in the past about some of the downsides of doing a road diet is the increased likelihood of frustrated drivers, and that's exactly the type of frustrated driver that frustrated behavior while driving that can lead to serious injury crashes. I'm glad they looked in that case. There's things that we can do to mitigate that, more mid-block barriers. Of course, then that makes it more difficult for emergency vehicles to get through. So it's kind of
Free lunch.
yeah, it's a trade-off. Ideally, when people stop and pull over for an emergency vehicle to come by, if they're in a spot where they're next to a barrier, they would keep going or pull up out of the way somehow. But sometimes the car in front of you has stopped, and so those are the concerns that we hear from fire about mid-block islands.
Sure. Well, I mean, if we have, I think we have state protected infrastructure that will save on police and emergency vehicle responses to begin with. We won't have 647 crashes in a month. Yeah, so I want to go back to Katie's,
Katie, do you have anything on like e-scooters or scooters in general as far as there?
You know what, I actually, I did look for that and I didn't, so. Yeah, I can have that.
And Katie, I know that we had talked about this in the meeting, but I really like the last month's report. So we just, sum it up and then, have a clear cut delimitation on what period of time we're talking about. So,
And we can compare apples. to
yeah, exactly.
Months, the other months, between these.
yeah,
So thank you for this.
Yeah, and, so yeah, I think the last thing, I'm just gonna put the description of the, Capco levels at the bottom of every report, so I think that's all that's down there. And, I took a glimpse at the November and we already have 8 A-level, crashes, which is bad. 2 of them were, bikes. 2 of them were motorcycles, as you know.
It was an interesting one on Lumpkin this morning.
Oh, is that the?
Lumpkin, right near Westview. A small car hit a telephone pole, that intersection where Westview goes off toward Westlake and everything. And then there's like a rental house and then another house there, and there was a telephone pole in front. And this small little car had the broken off telephone pole sitting on top of it. Wow. Yeah, it was a mess this morning.
gosh, yeah. Yeah, that's not supposed to happen either.
No.
It's supposed to.
Well, and that's one of the problems with, the whole 5 Points neighborhood is all of those telephone poles are right at the sidewalk and everything.
They're off the road, basically.
Yeah, but the lines should keep it upright though, I thought.
Oh, well, the car actually severed the pole almost at ground level.
I saw it too.
Yeah, that should.
Saw it after the fact, laying down.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're right, the guy lines, but they support the top of the pole.
Right, but they're supposed to.
It was still there.
Even if it's not supposed to go like sideways or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe there's not enough tension. I'm not an electrician or power.
Gravity seemed to work.
God, that's so scary. Wow. Yeah, final remarks.
Yeah, no, I guess we'll get more info on these 8, hopefully maybe more than 8 by the time we report back on it, but yeah, one of the bike things was Carlton East Campus. And one was hit by Sunset, drivers that followed it.
Wow. Hit and run.
Yeah,
On Sunset, really?
yeah, that's surprising that people would be going that fast.
Because they have some speed bumps and they've got a couple of. Right, yeah.
Which section is Sunset?
Good question.
With like the park or?
There's no reason to expect pedestrians anywhere near a park.
Because I don't think there's speed tables
Yeah.
in the section
With the go kart. No, I don't think so.
3-lane section there.
Yeah, well, Peggy, these are great. I love them. I love that we're surfacing this, that these aren't getting forgotten, that we're showing like how often, unfortunately, that these kinds of injuries and fatalities happen. And even sometimes when people walk away, I think, it's good to know that this is not a rare thing. This is like every single day in Athens.
Yeah, I'm looking
Is
forward-
this, sorry, I was just gonna say, is this something that could go on our webpage?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I think it's useful information for people to have.
Yeah, great idea.
Have you had the training for the website? Cool. Great. Love it. Thank you for asking about that.
Yeah, sense.
Yeah,
Let's get it out there.
we're relatively in the know, the general public should be shocked by these numbers.
Right.
Absolutely shocked.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to provide an update on the BAC training.
It's gonna hide.
I've currently got 5 people who have not completed. I've got Alan, Julie, and Gabriella have not started. Gabriella will let it slide since she just started. And then Art and Lauren have completed partially the training, so everybody else has completed it. Good job.
Okay, raise your hand if you completed it.
Oh, man, I've been
Thank
done with it for 6 months.
y'all, thank y'all.
It's actually pretty good.
You know, it's not
It's
bad.
important, yeah.
I've had to do similar sorts of things for the state, and I was impressed with it.
So is there a path that we should take to get the rest of the way completed? I mean, I don't even know where to go right now.
Yeah,
Send it to your email. That's got one.
Are there like any terms in our email box that we can find?
Take aim
Okay.
or BAC.
Right, we probably just-
Honestly, just BAC would probably do it. Yeah. I think it's a link through Take Aim. You may have to get new access, because it might only be active for a certain amount of time. If you find that you follow the instructions and you don't have access, then I will forward it to get you access again, renewed access. And I'm just gonna start bringing it up each meeting.
You should. Thank you. Yes, Jane. So you can beat me with one of those flex posts. Take a look at Prince Avenue or something.
I can't find any email about. That'd be great, thanks.
Have you gotten your official email? Sue?
Yes.
Great. You get a
You
sticker
did
for
that
that.
this afternoon?
You did. Okay.
Good. I was,
Then I just needed to log in.
It's worth doing because all of this is subject to open records. And so unless you want your personal stuff.
Other updates from staff, there was the safety action plan. That period, that comment period is closed. Next steps there.
Yes, they are gonna be reviewing feedback. I did get a request for somebody who had missed the window. So I'm gonna talk with our consultant as well as our public engagement specialist to see if they'd be fine with. We could maybe have a message up that just says feedback for the period from, A to B is under review. Basically allow people to continue submitting their feedback,
That'd be great.
but maybe just make sure that they're aware that it's not going to be incorporated in the first round of public engagement. But maybe there's an opportunity to do some ongoing stuff similar to what we've talked about with the wiki map.
Yeah.
Athens in Motion.
So that'd be great. There's a lot going on right now and it's the holidays. So
So yeah, that's coming along. We're working with them on some data stuff and next steps. And are there any specific projects that y'all have questions about? Capital projects?
briefly, anybody? I guess I'll move on to, I want to go ahead and do our minutes. That's, okay. Before we go into our committee updates, I'm going to go ahead and, bring up our minutes and I've got them both.
I just uploaded them to the shared drive.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Maybe we'll try that out.
All right, so I think think what happened last time is we had some kind of issue and I postponed the vote for the September minutes during the October meeting and just forgot about it. So these are the minutes from September.
Those are. It says September
Oh, dang
23.
it. Oh, just kidding. Let's just go ahead and do this recent one.
Let's try October.
Yeah. No, I have September. Wait, don't
I think they're a lot.
Ed moved.
Move it right along.
Are those are the ones you sent, to my personal email, right?
You said you just uploaded them to the drive.
Okay, so let me just find them in the drive. Yeah. No, we try. I try.
If it was easy, we wouldn't need someone of your prodigious talents. Right.
2024 minutes. Yes. Back. Thank you, Blaine.
Sorry. Can we go through them line by line though, just to make sure the accuracy is there?
Yes, okay. Yes, every single line.
I just did. October, I moved to approve.
All right, okay, wait, hold on, here's September. Here's the September minutes. Guess we welcome back Alan. Oh, this was that meeting with the audio issues. We talked about Cherokee and Vincent Drive, a letter for sporadic facilities, potentially a sidewalk, multi-path. We talked about 2026. Any additions or corrections to our minutes from September? There being none, I will formally entertain a motion to approve our minutes from September.
Formally move to approve.
Okay, first from Ed, second.
No.
Okay, I'll do it. Who said it? Oh, anybody? I
It's like Gabrielle.
Gabrielle, yes. Okay.
Congratulations.
First, say aye.
Aye.
Got that, and then next, our minutes from last month, October. Talked about North Avenue, we did memorandum and sent it to Athens-Clarke County Commission. We did an update on T-Splosh 2026. We had our staff updates and Katie gave us, I think that was our first monthly crash report, and that's great. And we talked about keeping our time. Any additions or corrections to the minutes from October? There being none, I will entertain a motion to approve our minutes from October. First one, Gabrielle.
I'll second.
Okay, Ed, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, moving on to the last bit of our meeting. Thank you everyone for hanging in there. Any report backs from our corridor committees? Okay. Any updates from our local committees? Oh, and I did send a video of people biking up to the commission.
I can just say that it's very popular on social media. It's gotten lots of views, and so that's been a successful bit of communication.
I am glad to hear that.
Yep.
Thank you, Teresa.
The Peace Bloss group did not have a forum
Oh, no.
last time, so no votes.
What were y'all supposed to do?
It's the Sycamore Drive Greenway-esque changes. So we're gonna put them on next month.
Our meeting in December then?
Could I just make a comment, I guess, for Teresa and Julie, that I don't know if either of you are on Blue Sky, but it's kind of the big new, not Twitter. And it's the only thing that I'm doing right now, and I don't do very much with it, but there's a big bicycle community. Like tons of different bicycle interest groups. So it may be a good thing to look into.
Why not? I mean, I never did anything with Twitter, but I'll take a look at it. Might be useful.
Yeah, I think I'm not good at it, but I can point you, if you just search for bikes, you figure it out.
Greenway first.
I've covered most of what I wanted to, thanks to help from above. But if you have not gone down to check out the artwork that your tax dollars paid for on the North Oconee River, or under the North Oconee River, North Oconee Access Road overpass over the Greenway there off of College Station, it is absolutely worth checking out. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's nice.
Nice artwork that they did on the underside of the bridge and everything, on the columns coming down. That's it's nice. I'm tickled pink with that. I confess that I was maybe a little bit leery about it going in, especially I was worried about wiping out the cliff swallow nest on the underside of that bridge. But now life is good.
Yeah,
that's all I have.
It looks great. Yeah, I've already taken some pictures of some friends there. So thanks. And that's funded because 1% of every SPLOST project we have goes to art.
Congratulations. Yeah, that's some good money.
Dang, yeah, okay. UGA, you guys have your safe, you did the safe.
Yep, we did our safety inspection last Thursday.
Yeah.
We moved it out to the park and ride lot. We had a lot more flexibility.
Oh, yeah.
It was good. Thank you again to Bike Athens. Scott and Michael came out there and supported. It was good. It was a nice day. We inspected a lot of vehicles for students who were going to leave and go home for the holidays. We saw a few that had no oil in them at all and were dry. Put a couple quarts in there and directed them what to do next. So it's pretty common. It's not the worst thing we've seen. So it was a good day. It was a very good day out there. Yeah, good weather. It was nice.
Any updates?
No, that's it.
Okay, we'll go ahead and do a quick round with our last 2 minutes. So commissioners share other business or a brief parting thoughts. Hand it over this way.
Really?
Yeah, and then we'll go to staff and we'll go to the screen.
I was just, to get back to the mayor commission meeting and just the number of people that came out and spoke positively on Prince, especially given other things that have happened this month, really was uplifting. And I think if we keep pushing and making things safer, there is a groundswell out there. But we just need to keep pushing some people that think cyclists are communists, but we're getting there.
Good.
To all of you, I'm wishing you and yours a safe and happy holiday weekend. Hope everybody has a good weekend. For that matter, a whole holiday season. Might not see you till the new year, so.
Sure, yeah.
35 miles per hour on College Station.
Nice little victories.
Yeah, we could get
Now, that even means you coming downhill.
slow down.
I watch it. I've been pulled over once.
Really?
The US campus.
Really?
Wow.
Good for you.
Speeding?
Uh-huh.
On your bike?
Uh-huh.
That's a feat.
That is pretty impressive. Yeah.
How much over the speed limit?
It wasn't much, but they ticket like if you're 2 miles an hour over or something. I mean, they're really strict down there. So
It's interesting how they only do that for bikes. Because a car wouldn't get 2 miles over.
Yeah. Julie?
I'm gonna echo a lot of what Randy said. I watched the mayor and commission meeting and was just, I think, feeling a little bit down after everything that happened with North Avenue. And so to see how many people came out to talk about Prince and not only talking about how much safer they felt walking and biking, but I never drive on Prince, and to hear people talking about how much safer they feel in their cars too. I feel like we have a lot of people who don't necessarily love people walking and biking around. And so for them to hear from drivers about how much that has like really enhanced their experience on the corridor was, I think, just so cool to see support all around. So love the work that we're doing. Can't wait to continue to see like what we do.
Just thinking, happy holidays, everyone. And this is kind of the season where we're going to see some more bicycles and more electric scooters probably on the road after the holidays. Probably, I think the scooters especially will be kind of a big ticket item to purchase. So, it only makes what we're doing more important. We're going to see so many more kind of inexperienced or new riders out there.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Yeah, holiday, having people buy e-bikes for each other, their spouses or things like that. So yeah.
Are the Bird e-bike rentals, are those still campus restricted?
Yes.
I thought so.
Yeah, but you can have a personal scooter.
Oh, no, I know. My wife wants to go rent them and ride all over, and I keep telling her she.
Oh.
I'll echo the happy holidays. I don't have much to think about. Being involved in the commission has been really exciting. I don't have much to say regarding that. So instead, I thought I would tell a funny story. I was riding my bike and I was like, something feels really wrong. And then realized that I had a flat tire that I rode on for like 7 miles.
Oh,
Wow, really, really dead.
Wow.
So anyways, but I'm very excited to have a bike path and actually be able to commute to work on my bike path. So
Yeah.
Be able to get home with your flat tires.
Yes.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I got on and it was like, oops.
I mean, our bikes, they're amazing, right? They're kind of like old Tacomas, sort of, right? Just don't have to fix them or do anything to them.
And now I know what a flat tire feels like.
Yeah. Glad you're okay.
Got a better workout.
Yeah.
That was a bright side.
2 years and 1 month ago, I purchased an e-bike because I was finding that I wasn't riding my regular bike as much. I now have almost 3,000 miles on it, which if those were all commuting miles, that would be 2 months worth of commuting. That, and I know Scott may not want to hear this because Friday night is the joyride, but if you guys have
Nope,
ever,
there's not one this week.
there's not that, oh, well then, this is a perfect week. The last Friday of every month, Atlanta has something called Critical Mass Ride, and I went on that with a friend. They start downtown and go through
Is it on
like
the
Peachtree.
Beltway?
Not usually.
Oh, okay.
It's on the main roads, and I was expecting about 40 people on bikes and scooters and such. There was well over 300 people. We shut down Peachtree and rode all the way up to Buckhead. We rode through other things. Nobody stopped. We stopped the cars. They had to wait for the bikes. The bikes went on for 6 blocks. So they do that every last Friday.
I will be in Atlanta with my sister on Friday.
Critical Mass is what they're
Critical
called.
Mass, okay.
They have a Facebook.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Katie?
What's the assignment?
Oh, just already thought, anything else?
You got me thinking about scooters, and I just opened the email from Propel ATL, and they're talking about protected bike scoot lanes. Bikes walking and scooting, so we gotta elevate that.
Right, we say bike lanes, but really we mean micromobility.
Yes.
It's the missing middle of transportation. It's what we're after.
Or I heard one recommendation, just to call them buffered lanes.
Yes,
rather than
right,
bike
right.
lanes.
I'll probably start trying to adjust my language to say it's like that, a little more broad. Yes.
Well, again, it was nice getting to meet you all, and I appreciate you all's passion for what y'all's committee is trying to work on, and I'm Really enjoyed the conversation and recommendations about education and information dispersal into the community. I think it's really exciting. I won't be here every meeting. Do tend to stop in, and I'll be working kind of on the back end. We've got some exciting things happening with data. We've got some exciting initiative with our crash reports that we're working on. So again, my name is Jason, transportation planner. So I'm here.
Yeah. Again, welcome, Jason. Daniel.
It's good fun.
All right. Like, when are the holidays?
Yeah, enjoy the holidays.
Kicking it up to the screen, we'll start with Teresa, parting thought.
Oh, thank you for that. I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and that I'm very thankful to all of you, commissioners, and our wonderful staff people, and everybody else who's helping us get this done. So let's all be safe and happy across Thanksgiving.
All right, and Scott, no joyride this week. You're leaving.
I'll be out of the country through December 11th, but definitely reminding people to show up for the Prince Avenue vote meeting. Even if you think there's just a long line of Prince Avenue supporters and you don't need to add to that, you do. We really appreciate everybody coming out and hope to see more of that. Thanks.
All right, y'all. Appreciative of you all. I hope you have a safe holiday. I hope you, for those of you who bike, that you find time to bike on Friday, or get out and be in the woods walking and stuff, and just be careful out there traveling.
Do be careful if you're on the roads Friday, Georgia Tech game.
Thank you. That's Friday. Yes, Friday.
Yep, not a Saturday game.
If you want to ride the portion of the Greenway from the Performing Arts Center to the Park and Ride lot, it'll be lit up Friday night. It's a small portion.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn our meeting. I will make the motion to adjourn our.
Second.
Okay, second.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Keep your mouth shut.
All right, thank y'all. Are we not reporting anymore?
Bye.
Bye, Teresa.